Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the NECA Terminator 2 Ultimate T-800 figure. Yet another release in NECA's Ultimate line. This new and improved Terminator features more articulation and more accessories than any previous release. Later on in this review, we'll talk a little more about where this figure stacks up in your overall Terminator collection, but it's really cool that NECA gave this Terminator the deluxe Ultimate figure treatment, especially since it's been a while since we've gotten a straight-up Terminator 2 Arnold. For accessories, I'll try to be a complete nerd and go chronologically with these. So we get the shotgun, really nicely sculpted here. We have the wood grain on the different parts of it, the nice kind of tarnished silver with the little cocking mechanism down here. Looks really nice. I think it's the same exact sculpt we've gotten previously, but it looks really, really good. And one of the most iconic weapons from Terminator. And this you would have gotten originally with the Pescadero Escape version of the T-800, which I think was the first release they put out. We also get the handgun here. Really nice looking. It's got a great silver sheen to it. We have the black on the handle there. All the appropriate details all over this piece. I believe we would have originally gotten this with the man or machine version of the Terminator. Next up we get the grenade launcher. Some more great wood grain here in the back. All the silver pieces added on there. The sight flipped down. See all the little components to it. We have the rubberized strap here at the bottom so you can put it over his shoulder. Though it is kind of warped out of the package, so I'll probably have to straighten this out a bit. But you can see it has all the little buckles and pieces on there, which is great. And this is the complete version. So the complete version would have first come out with the Cyberdyne Showdown version, if I remember right. And speaking of the Cyberdyne Showdown version, we get the feature of that version, the damn minigun, which looks awesome. We've gotten this a few other times in the Terminator line. We got a retool of it with one of the T-1000s. We kind of saw it with the video game figures as well, but it looks great here. They did a nice silver paint with some black wash over top to make it look dirty. The black handle back here, which on my previous version came off all the time. This one seems nicely glued down, which is great. Out of the package, this handle up here at the front was kind of warped and smushed down, but I've been able to get it to kind of come back to its real shape, which is great. And beyond that, not a whole lot of warpage going on, which is also fear with these guns. I've seen them with bent barrels and things, but it looks really nice. Then we have the chain of bullets coming off of it, a nice rubberized piece. Going down to the bag. The bag's pretty nicely detailed. It has some gray dry brushing on top to give it a more realistic look. We have the little metal pieces kind of sculpted on there. A rubberized strap to go over his arm. And then we have the indentation here where it will kind of fit with the side of Arnold's body. Always had trouble getting this accessory to really stay and contour to Arnold correctly, but it's cool that they gave it to us. We even have some detail here on the zipper. You can see the zipper detailed out where the bullet belt's coming out of the bag. We get 3 unique head sculpts with this figure. The first one is the sunglasses, so it's basically the same sculpt we'd gotten previously with the Pescadero Escape version. The paint on here does seem a little nicer though, some better shading in the face I think was previously there. The hair and the glasses are a lot cleaner than my other version. The glasses have a great sheen to them, a gloss that makes them look like real sunglasses, and his hair has some great different tones of brown going through it to make it look very realistic and very detailed. Next up we have the no sunglasses look, so virtually the exact same head sculpt except without the sunglasses. My eyes here are a little bit wonky, but not too bad. I honestly prefer the head sculpt with the sunglasses just because I feel like with his eyes here, he just kind of has a strange facial expression, a very bland and blank facial expression, which works for a machine, but if I'm gonna have bland Arnold, I'd almost rather have him with the sunglasses. And then last but not least, we get the final battle version of Arnold here with the entire side of his face torn away. You can see the endoskeleton underneath, the red eye, all the torn up meat. You got bullet holes going down his neck and on his forehead. So a much bloodier version, but still basically the exact same facial expression going on. The hair is even torn away up here. I like there's some little blood on his ear there as well. Looks very nice. But this head starts my problem with this figure overall. I guess I can actually go back to the accessories even. The look of Arnold in T2 is constantly changing, and it's really hard to capture on one action figure. I understand the impetus to give us very iconic looks for Arnold, giving us the normal head, the sunglass normal head, and then probably the most famous version of his torn up face. However, I'm pretty sure he only really looks like this in the movie for seconds before he gets his arm ripped off, and unfortunately we don't get an alternate arm with the wires hanging out of it for this version. It almost seems like they would have been slightly better off giving us the less damaged version of this head sculpt, which I think also came came with that final battle version that is more the damage that he took when they were escaping Cyberdyne. Moving down to the torso on this figure, we of course have the bandolier here with the grenades on it. We can see here we're just missing one, so this is the mostly complete version of the bandolier. Looks great. We got the buckle in the back and the little strap hanging down. All the stitching on it's really nice. This is a rubberized piece, and you could remove it if you wanted to. We have his jacket with all the appropriate stitching. He's got all the little silver rivets and buckles and buttons on it, which look really nice. It's a rubberized piece, so you can kind of peel it away from his body a little bit if you want to pose him dynamically. Turn around to the back, you see all the little bullet holes put in it when he was in the Galleria. Really, really nice attention to detail on the jacket. I always liked it. There's a little bit of dry brushing. I have to bring out some detail as well, which is always appreciated. The sleeves are hard sculpted. We have a lot of nice wrinkles going through them. Then we come down here to his black gloved hands. This hand we get a nice trigger finger for. You can even see all the little hole details on the glove. And the other hand is more closed with a slight thumbs up gesture, which I guess is appropriate. Underneath that jacket, we do have his gray shirt with some black shading on it to make it look a little dirtied. But if you want to be a complete geek like me, you know that he only had the sunglasses when he had the black t-shirt on, not the gray. And by the time he had the super damaged head, he also had no more grenades. The lower torso features the most changes to this design because it had to be redone for the new articulation. So we have his belt there, which is really nicely detailed. We have the buckle in the middle and all the little holes and the loops on his pants. This section of his pants is what I was referred to as the diaper, the soft rubberized piece that allows more articulation. And the rest of the pants have some great wrinkle detail in them. We have the zipper here on the side, which looks really good. And then down here at the bottom, we have his boots, which are really nice. I love they gave him a nice brown wash to look like dirt. And the buckle on here is nicely detailed as well. I feel like the paint apps on this version are much more stepped up over the original releases, which is great. You even see some of that dirt coming up onto the pant leg too, which is very, very cool. And then we do have peg holes here at the bottom of his feet. For articulation, he has a ball joint at the base of the neck, so he can look up and down as well as side to side and tilt. Pretty good range there. He has pin socket shoulders, so they'll go out to the side. He can rotate forward and back. He can bend and swivel at the elbow. A ball joint there at the wrist. He has a cut joint here at the waist, so you can swivel side to side. I was kind of hoping they'd upgrade him to a ball joint, but it's not too bad. Pin socket legs, so they'll go forward, back, as well as out to the side. You can rotate at the upper leg. You can bend at the knee. It's a little hindered because of how bulky his sculpt is. You can also rotate. Then we have a ball joint at the foot, which is really smooth and has a great range of motion. Then if we flip to his other leg, there is a little added articulation here. We have a mid-thigh cut and a mid-shin cut. Now, this isn't necessarily for articulation. If we look back at the original figures, this was to accommodate the busted up knee. So it makes me wonder if even with this new leg sculpt, NECA's planning to go back at some point and incorporate in that feature. And for a size comparison, here is our Ultimate T-800 next to the original release T-1000 and the new Terminator Genesis T-1000. And we're bringing the Genesis version because I know they're probably going to use a lot of that body for the Ultimate T-1000. And I am liking the height difference between the new T-1000 and this Ultimate T-800 a lot more than I like the T-800's height difference with the Robert Patrick version here. The Robert Patrick version just looks like he's a little too tall. That T-1000 stuck in a pose with a bent knee, and this Arnold's standing pretty straight up. So it actually looks like this T-1000 would be taller than the T-800. But looking at the new Genesis body, it looks like it would be about the size I would really expect them to be side by side. Sadly, I feel like I'm not nearly as impressed with this Ultimate T-800 as I was hoping I would be when I just heard they were doing it. As I stated earlier, the problem is the look of the T-800 in Terminator 2 changes so much. Hell, it almost seems like Terminator 1 would be an easier target for the Ultimate treatment, even though you'd still need two figures to capture it. At this point, I think I have most, if not all, of the NECA Terminator figures that have come out, and this really only replaces one of them, and that's the Cyberdyne Showdown version. Every other figure has additional detail that isn't captured here with the Ultimate version. I was kind of hoping for one T-800 figure that would let me sell off maybe a lot of the rest of the Terminators in my collection and condense it down to one figure, but that's definitely not the case here. If you're a casual Terminator fan, I think this is great. If you missed out on those earlier releases, this figure gets a high recommend. But if you're a completist, if you've been collecting all this time, it's still definitely a recommend, but I'm more excited to have this just to go hunt down one of those Harley Davidson motorcycle toys that are in scale with this, which unfortunately are fairly expensive at this point, to finally have Arnold on a bike, rather than just being excited for a new T-800 figure. I can't really fault NECA for having done the line so thoroughly previous to this that it kind of spoiled me on the matter, so I feel like the complaint is almost not even valid, but if you're hardcore into the line and a complete completionist on it, this just might not make you as happy as it would if you didn't have any of these figures. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box review, and I'll be back.